growing up, one of my favorite movies of all time was Beauty and the Beast. And just recently, a new real life Beauty and the Beast came out. I went to see it last night. Highly recommended. Almost perfectly linear to the story in 1991 or 92, I believe. As a child, you have Belle, you have the Beast, you have Gaston, you have La Fool. You have it. It's amazing, and literally scene for scene, all the same music. Be our guest, be our guest. Put our service to the test, or something in that. Beautiful, beautiful movie. Beauty and the Beast. The soundtrack is amazing. Anyways, as I was watching this movie, I can't help but try and see the underlying story and take a look at the archetypes and see the deeper meaning. I think a lot of Disney stories, we've seen Pinocchio is taught in a ton of psychology classes. So naturally, I tried to break it down, and I hadn't seen this movie in years. Fantastic, epic. Go see it, guys. Tell me what you think. But right now, I'm going to try to break it down and tell you my thoughts. And I think this is for both men and women, but it gives us an archetype to look at for a man. And the archetypes are images. We have the archetypes of the king, the warrior, the magician, the lover. And this is, I believe, the sort of what a man is striving to be, finding meaning in how to be a good lover and to be a man that women desire. But also a man that is upright and that is his own man and that is strong. And also what a girl kind of goes through. So without further ado, let's just dive in. First of all, you have this village and you have young Belle. And young Belle is sort of an outcast. She likes to read, and no one around the town, everyone's illiterate. Everyone looks at her as sort of odd. She gets in trouble for teaching another young girl how to read. And she lives her life in this little town. In the very beginning, she says, I want more. There's got to be more than this. There's got to be more. She lives alone with her father. And her father is an old man, very calm, very wise. You see him singing at the beginning. You go into his room, and he's working on a clock. And you can tell that this is his thing. He's been doing this. He says, hey, Belle, can you hand me that? And she already has a piece of that clock. And he's got clocks everywhere. And he's wise. He's very intricate. He does, this is his thing. But he's also, you can tell, he loves his daughter. He's very protective. He's very good. How was your day, Belle? He cares very much for this little girl. It's just, that's his last piece. That's his last bit of love goes to her. And she is very receptive. That's all she knows. She's in this little town. What ends up happening is Gaston comes along. Gaston with the chin and the ponytail and the mirror. There's a scene where he's looking, he's like, you know what? You are so beautiful. No one deserves you. And then it cuts to the mirror that he's looking in. And there's actually him looking in the mirror saying, no one deserves you. You're so good looking. And then, so you have Gaston here, which is this real narcissistic type, very into himself. And then you have almost his polar opposite, which is La Fool. I think that's how you say it. And in this movie, he's portrayed as gay. And this is why this movie was actually banned from a couple of movie theaters. Anyways, it's hilarious. He's this sort of wannabe alpha. I would literally categorize him as the wannabe alpha. He puts on this front of his good looks, his muscle, his perfect hair, and he knows that everyone thinks he's good. But deep down, you can tell that he just thinks that because of all the attention of everyone else giving it to him. Then you have La Fool, on the other hand, which is very Gaston. Yes, sir. He's very needy. He's this very clingy. He does nothing but compliments and smiles, and you can tell he just loves Gaston, and he looks up to him, but also he's his own man, and he's just he's the very polar opposite, very soft and he craves the attention that from Gaston. So let me see this camera if we're about to die here. We know we got some time. So as we move on, Gaston approaches Belle and he says, Belle, I want you to be my wife. And Belle says, Gaston, can you picture us together? I cannot picture us together. I will never marry you. I will never marry you. And she just is not into this narcissistic asshole guy. And he is baffled. Well, I will make her marry me. I will have Belle as my wife. He is so sure of himself. And the thing is that he was so confident that this alpha persona, that this confident belief in his looks, in his wealth, was going to get him this Belle, this perfect woman. So then what ends up happening is Belle's father goes out on a journey and he gets surrounded by wolves. We're going to rush into this. He runs from the wolves and he ends up in the Beast Tower. Okay, so the Beast Tower is very dark. He enters the door. Hello, is anyone there? It's very dark. You can probably bring back the images of the movie now from your childhood. He sits at the table. And then Chip, the little teacup, says, hey! And he's just freaked the fuck out. And he's like, wow, this place is haunted. He's got to get out of here. Ends up leaving. Belle is like, where's my father? The horse comes running back. I got to go find him. Belle sets off to find her father. All right? This is where things get interesting. As she comes to the castle, her father is now captured. Her father ends up getting captured by a beast. Puts him in a dungeon at the very top. And in the movie, Belle enters the castle and finds her father up in the palace chambers. Now, at this point, the beast comes along. And she's like, please don't hurt him. Please just let him go. And he says, you have 1 minute. And that door is never coming open again. So right there, you get hit with this very dark presence, this almost evil character. But the entire time he makes himself, he's just very blunt. He doesn't seem evil. Like, he doesn't seem like he's sinister or up to no good. He just seems very, to the point. He's not going anywhere. He stole from me by the law. That he broke the law. He deserves to be punished. So what ends up happening is he gives Belle a minute to say goodbye to her father. Belle enters the dungeon and she does a trick. She pushes her father out and the door closes. And she says, now you got me. Now you keep me and you let my father go. Please don't harm him. So she does. Her father goes. Now this part kind of sort of showed me the disconnection between a daughter and her father. I mean, you got to think Belle had only her father. The majority of her life. Mother was gone from a very young age from the Black Plague, raised by her father, this protective man. He even says, I can be a little too protective sometimes. And I think this point was her entering that dungeon, that dark castle of the unknown, almost of maybe even you could say of her fantasies, the fantasy world in her head, the unknown, this blackness, unexplored territory that she had never, and now she's ready. She's divorcing her father's input. She's kicking him, be free. This is now my time to experience what my fantasies are about in the real world and how things really are. She is now here to face the beast. So the beast is like, okay, what do I do? Ends up, she gets her own chamber. Now, let's just go back. The beast, you have so we looked at Gaston, narcissistic, and his other half, kind of the opposite. Very, very just suck up. That's what he's the nice guy. He's the suck up to people. He says what you want to hear. So right there you have two people that you don't really want to be like, or you don't really like if you've had them in your life. And she does not like that. She has not wanted anything to do with him. So now she enters the beast's lair. And you have this dark figure, very dark, right? In a dark, hidden in this robe. Shameful, but also very coarse. And then the beast has a sort of counselor. that is Lumiere, and it is that lamp. B. Ah, yes, and Lumiere is very witty. Lumiere is literally a light. Okay, very, very outgoing, very sort of, sir, bonjour, yeah, come to the table, we have the food. I don't know, but he's just very outgoing, polar opposite of Beast, but also Beast's sidekick, if you will, or right-hand man. So I love that, because now you have what she hates and what she ends up falling in love with. And that kind of gives us an idea of what's going on here, or the type of men. Because we know that narcissism is very, and to think of yourself as the shit is sort of that. It's not even like an alpha vibe where you're like, no one wants anything to do with you. You're too cocky. But also, on the other side, no one wants anything to do with the super nice guy that's sucking up to everyone and, just for the hell of it. Because they know he's complimenting people just so they will like him and give him attention. So now you have the Beast. And she ends up talking to the Beast and hanging out in the collection of books. And he has this side to him. He's very blunt. He's got his past. And what I like to look at here is the Beast is sort of ashamed of himself. He's ashamed of himself. And then you get what is Gaston eventually, and the village that is ganging up on him, and they come raiding his house. We kill the Beast, kill the Beast, and they have this wood and they're knocking down the doors, the tribesmen, and the Beast is like, in society, is that alpha male. The Beast is that where you wouldn't go, the aggressive. See, at first Belle hates the Beast. He's mean. He's a mean monster. But he ends up being someone that she falls in love with. Okay? And it is because of these qualities of assertiveness, dominance. It is because of his aggressiveness that is this dark beast. And what happens when a man gets very beast-like? You have the village, you have society come in and tell you, no, bad, here, wear this Gucci, wear this Prada, put these clothes on, look like this, look a certain way, wear this certain kind of clothes, dress a certain way, be the nice guy. Everyone is. So now you have this sort of hidden in the darkness with Lumiere by his side, the witty, sort of sitting in the background, comes out when needed, but then, just kind of there for the Beast. The Beast isn't really ready to shine yet. And a cool point I've seen in this video, there's a lot of clocks and a lot of references to time, like the father. She's now divorced, the father's way of thinking. It's time for her to grow on her adventure. And the father's in clocks. There's, the candle, but also with his buddy, which is the kind of the fat clock that wobbles like this. And the rose. There is a certain amount of time. The last petal, when it falls, then the Beast stays the Beast forever. And now all the qualities, if you will. I don't know how to look at all the qualities. The teacup, and then Chip, and then you have the dresser that comes alive, and the piano, and you have, Lumiere. And I believe this is all sort of qualities of the Beast that live within him. The kindness, the feminine, the motherly teacup, and then the son of that, the Chip, the playful boy, the hero archetype. And then you also have this wise clock. Then you have the piano, the artist. And I don't know, there's so much here, and I don't want to stretch it too far, but I definitely like that there's all these things, and everything is going to be how it is, just antiques, and he's going to remain a beast if he does not make this girl fall in love before the last flower petal drops on this rose. So you have the villagers coming to take, and that's huge, guys, because in this world, as you begin to discover yourself, you'll realize that you do have a lot of people that are going to tell you that is not how you should act. You're going to tell people you need to be this way, that you're too mean, you're too aggressive. See, and those qualities that a man has, the dominance, the aggressiveness, followed by the lightheartedness, the goodwill. You need those to be a man. The light and the dark, all right, pulling evenly down this life. But you will be pushed and pulled. You will be shamed for those qualities. This is what alpha. The beast isn't trying to be alpha, and that's a very important point. I think a lot of guys, we try to put on this front of what alphaness is. The beast states how he is, and he's deeply hurt from his past. His father, it goes into, it shows you a little flashback, and then also because he was narcissistic, he was Gaston at one point, and he had to regress into this beast world, this underworld, and go through it to realize that these are the qualities. He literally, he didn't find love as a prince. He found love as a beast. And so instead of running from that, we find our hidden gems of manhood inside of that, being able to lead, being able to assert ourselves. And that's all stuff that I get from this. And at the end, you have Belle falls in love with this beast, and then he's transformed into a prince again. And if they get married, king. And a fantastic story. I think you guys would love to watch it. That's really my takeaway. And I enjoyed that. I've been dissecting that in my mind the past day, and I wanted to share that with you guys. So thank you for watching. I will see you guys soon. Beauty and the Beast. Tales as old as time. I'll see you guys soon.